Welcome back to another episode of Behind the Seams. I'm joined today by our very own Director of People and Culture, Mirella. How are you, Mirella?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me.
Welcome to Behind the Seams.
I'm very excited today to be part of this podcast. So thank you for inviting me. This gives me a chance really to allow our listeners to get a chance to get a sneak peek of what it is to work at George Courey.
That's it.
It is a very fun place to work at.
Well, thanks. I think so too, right? I think that's all thanks to you, of course, in terms of the leadership that you're bringing to George Courey in terms of people and culture and our employees. So maybe you want to tell us a little bit about the day-to-day and the look into George Courey when it comes to our employees.
Yes. Our focus, it has always been that Sunday night. When you're like,
dreaded Sunday.
Yes, you're like, oh my God, I gotta go to work tomorrow. That's not how we want our employees to feel. We actually want them to say Sunday night, oh my God, I'm super excited. I have this idea that I want to share with my manager, or I simply want to just have coffee with my colleague in our breakout room.
That's right.
And to chat about my weekend and how my kids were driving me crazy. So that's,
that's always the topic of conversation. Yeah.
So that's what it is to work at George Courey. We want people to come in to feel happy to come in the morning. And we do that by creating a culture of belonging. Mm-hmm. So they are part of the George Courey family, a culture of safety. So to feel safe, to speak up, make mistakes, because we all learn from our mistakes, of course, and to be heard and to be empowered. So we really do care about our employees, and our employees see it, feel it, and that makes them happy to come in every morning.
Yeah, that's amazing. So what is it about George Courey and the atmosphere and the personnel that allows for that feeling of, like you mentioned, belonging and just excitement to come to the office? What are we doing in and around George Courey to make people feel that way? What is it something that they're doing?
I mean, I have to have a great shout out for our great managers that we have, because without them, we can't have a culture. Absolutely. And our people won't feel what they feel without them.
That is true.
And my role is really to work with them and to ensure that the values that we have in place are being demonstrated every day.
That's right.
So what we did at George Courey is just after COVID, we had our baby boomers who had been with us for so many years.
Incredible, right?
It's amazing. They, some of them just started working with us as their first job and just retired, and then retired. So
stay with us 40 plus years.
You don't see that every day, right?
I know, it's crazy.
So it is amazing, and there's a legacy there. And when after COVID, a lot of them decided to say, I'm ready to retire. I love being part of the George Courey family, but now it's time for me to move on. We were concerned because we're like, oh my God, are we going to lose our George Courey DNA?
Right.
So what we decided to do is to bring in our baby boomers and our new hires, sit them down together and try to truly define what our values are. Because our values became how we work every day. The values are the hows.
Absolutely.
And the values that we have at George Courey is teamwork, pride, integrity, doing work better every day, and courage, and of course, diversity. We're a very diverse culture. So that's who we are. And no matter what, we always go back to that. Does this really go back to our values? And that's what defines us.
That's amazing. I love that. And I know that we were doing the workshop for those values. It was a really amazing experience for us to go through that, and hearing people's experiences and how we came up with those are the whys of what we're doing, right? So I think it was amazing, and that was such a good time to get that going. And again, it has allowed us to keep consistent with the messaging. And I think that when it comes to either retention and or new hires, it allows for people to understand when they enter the building, when they talk to you, they understand right away what George Courey's culture is.
Correct.
I think that's the most important thing. So that's really, really good. In terms of that culture, I'm going to stick with the culture and how we're maintaining that as we grow. So right now, I'm sure a lot of our customers know that we are in growth mode. And how is it that we're keeping true to our culture and our values as we grow? So as we're adding employees, as we're expanding beyond our borders of Canada, for example, and into the United States and other places, how are we doing that?
Yeah. one of the things that we do is we listen. So our managers are very close with their employees. So they listen and they hear and they bring that communication all the way to the top. And we try to continue to improve because, culture is not static. It's dynamic.
Absolutely.
And it's continuously changing and improving. Our values are our foundation. So we'll always go back to those values. But what we really emphasize is communication. So we try to speak more and more, give more information to our employees through communication. We have quarterly town halls where our CEO steps in and talks about what we're doing, the challenges we have externally, especially lately with tariffs. So our employees are aware of what's going on.
Right.
Now, when we expanded to the United States, we have great 3 employees in the United States that we really enjoy having them on board because they bring that whole diversity again into the George Courey culture.
Absolutely.
They've learned how Canadians work and we are learning how Americans work.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, we are all working the same way because we're all going and looking at what our values are.
Absolutely.
So our values define how we work. And that's why we all work the same way at George Courey, no matter if we are from the United States or from Canada. But obviously, there's some spices that go in there, depending on the American spices and the Canadian spices. So
that's exactly right. No, and that's the best. And I think you said that is what makes it exciting. That's why it's always fun to get people's opinions and perspectives on certain things. It does differ not only between cultures, but also between countries, It is different, right? So it's always fun to have those conversations. And I know that, with that expansion to the US with our wonderful employees there, we've had to also adapt in how we function. So having remote work, right, as well, which is kind of a first of the last 10 years, right? Something that we haven't really done before in our history. So that's always been exciting. And also internally and locally, we have a hybrid work environment. So maybe you could give us a little insight into how you really do an amazing job of keeping people connected between our hybrid workforce in Montreal as well as our remote workers abroad.
Yes. It was quite a thing during COVID where we all packed up and went into our homes.
That's right.
Like we never thought of that. There were companies that never in a million years thought their people will be working from home.
Right.
And we did it and we did a great job at it. And coming back after COVID, we realized, do we want to come back 5 days a week?
Right.
So we actually listened to our employees and said, what would you prefer? What are your preferences? We knew we would not be a remote company. That is something that we were very well aware of. Yeah. Our employees preferred 1 day a week. We started with 1 day a week.
Right.
And a few months, we tested it out and everything. And then we realized our employees were coming to us and saying, yes, 1 day, but I don't see everybody on that 1 day and I don't interact as much and I don't feel as connected as I used to. So we decided to go 3 days a week and we mandated exactly those 3 days. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, our people are in our office. Right. And let me tell you, the vibe is very different.
It's happening.
People are laughing. It's loud. Yeah, it is fun. And I get to eat good. People come in with baked food, which I love. So I love coming in on those days because people are interacting, working together.
Yes.
And our Mondays and Fridays are time for our people to stop, focus, and work on tasks where it allows them to want to be more in a quiet place.
Sure.
So that's how we see it. Now, our employees that are remote, we have employees that are remote in the United States, but we've had employees that are remote around Canada, our sales reps.
That's true.
That have been, and our employees in Calgary as well.
That's right.
So we've been dealing with remote work quite a bit. We don't realize it, but we are. And one of the ways we do it is by including them as much as we can in what we do. So meetings are always, we make sure that our remote employees can be part of those meetings. We try to communicate as much as possible through newsletters, emails, and even our social activities. We try to ask our employees who are remote, we had a walking club and we actually told our remote employees, send us pictures. And it was so cute. We got very cute pictures of our employees walking with their dogs.
That's right.
So we want them to be part, whether you're far or near, we want you to interact with us and always feel part and feel close. That's very important.
No, that is important. And again, it does allow us to attract really, top talent, right? That's another thing. So speaking of top talent, how does George Courey like to recruit? Because recruiting is a big word and it's a big task.
Yeah.
And as a company that is growing, of course, is something that we're constantly looking at. So how does George Courey really attract people? What is the hook that George Courey has when you're having these conversations that really lights people up to be like, wow, I need to work at this company. This is amazing. Like, what do we have?
Yes.
Tell the viewers.
Yes. Where do I start?
That's right.
Where do I start? My God, my list is very big. Well, first, working with the Courey brothers were super fun.
I was hoping that was number one on your list, Mirella. Yes, thank you.
They're a lot of fun to work with. But someone once told me, and this is coming from a senior manager, is George Courey helped me learn what work-life balance is about. So when I do recruit and I talk to them about the way we work and the importance of work-life balance and the importance that we give that you actually have time to do what you like to do outside of work, that makes people just smile, makes them happy, makes them feel comfortable. But also working at George Courey is, it's a great time to work at George Courey because you come in and you make an impact because we want to hear your ideas. We want to see how you can make a difference. And that is also, it creates a purpose for you to come in and work for this organization. So there's a personal side that makes you want to work with us. There is also the professional side where you see that your experience that you have gained from elsewhere, you can actually bring it and improve and have an impact.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It's pretty powerful.
Yeah, it's allowing them to have the autonomy to make decisions, for example. And I know we train a lot of our managers on that communication and that way of empowering our employees to do that. So that's really amazing. And I think we're always constantly trying to improve on that, right? So in terms of training, how does that work with George Courey in terms of what we offer our managers and our employees to get ahead and to better themselves professionally?
Yes, for sure. There's a few things. When you start at George Courey, we are very strong on onboarding, which is a sort of training. So we ensure that our new hires are trained very well on who we are, our products, their job specifically, and what others do. So to understand what other people do. For our employees that do stay, that are with us on every day, training doesn't have to be a course. The best training is on the job training.
Absolutely.
So we have great people that we learn from each other, right? And so we try to connect people together to teach, to train each other on tasks. We do move people around in different tasks. It's, when someone goes on vacation for quite a bit of time and we say, can you take on this role? Yes. And that brings new skill sets.
Absolutely.
So definitely, we are continuously growing our people, and we're very big on the job training. That's very important for us.
Okay, nice. I like that. I mean, it does, especially when you have those fill-in roles time and time again. I think it's exciting for them to get out of their day-to-day as well and kind of look at something new and learn something new. And not only are they helping out that individual that's going to be, when they come back, it might not be too overwhelmed, right? Because they're helping out. But also, like you said, it kind of gives them an idea of what else is there and all that fun stuff. So I think that's a really, really good point. Now, in terms of training and what the future holds, AI is a big word.
Yeah.
Right? That's a big word we use. How is AI affecting either recruitment or HR practices in the business?
Yes. I mean, AI just came so quickly. The thing was like, oh my God, we just finished figuring out remote and hybrid work, and now we have to figure out AI. Exactly. But it's a great tool.
Yeah.
And we need to embrace it. And that's what we're so good at George Courey is we embrace, we adapt, and we take it to see how we can use it at best. So yes, and from a people and culture perspective, we are going to use AI. We're going to use AI to make our employees' lives easier in the way they work. We talk about a lot of those tedious tasks we had to do. Like, oh, I have to do that. I hate it. It's not my favorite part. So can we take those and make AI do that? If that is the case, which that's what AI is really doing.
Right.
Taking away those tedious jobs and letting people really focus on what they enjoy doing.
Absolutely.
So that is going to be our focus. Our other focus is that we go back to our values and say, how does AI impact our values? And focus on communicate. Super important. We do not want to take AI will not replace our communication. We don't want AI to replace the relationships our employees have with one another and the relationship they have with their manager. Super important. That will always be key for us. So AI is there just to make our life easier and make us happier.
Yes.
Because that's the idea. Because, happy employees, happy clients, and that's what we want.
And more efficient, right?
100%.
And what does that do? It definitely helps our customers out as well, right? So that's always something we look forward to. So last topic, just before we close it out, it's been an amazing conversation. But I wanted to just get your last comments on where do you see our culture heading as we grow?
Yeah. It's a very good question.
Thank you.
Culture is not static. It's dynamic. So we are living in a time where external environments are continuously making us question how we work and how our culture is. So it's very important that we take that concept of a dynamic culture and say, okay, these are our values. We really appreciate them. We believe in them. In 5 years, we need to review them.
Absolutely.
And say, are they still our values? Have we changed because of the external environment? Or because of our internal environment, we've made decision on a strategic aspect that will change our values. Right. So we are continuously reviewing, reflecting, and thinking. And that's what makes us, who we are, is we don't believe, okay, this is set in stone. There's nothing set in stone, because if it's set in stone, it doesn't work.
Right.
So it has to be dynamic. Right. We always have to keep thinking and always keep challenging ourselves. Are these our values? Is this our culture? Is the hybrid work model working? If it's not, can we do things differently? Have we trained our people to the best that they can? How can we do it differently? So we're always questioning the way we work, and that's very normal.
Amazing. Exciting times ahead at George Courey, right?
Yes.
There you go.
I'm telling you, it's fun to work at George Courey. It's impactful.
And then we get to do these podcasts, which are way more fun, right? Mirella, thank you so much for the conversation. I appreciate it. And that was a little insight into our employees with our Director of People and Culture, Mirella. Thank you.
Thank you so much.